Before you watch rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are related to DevOps and cloud in any way. If you are passionate about DevOps, cloud, AI, preparing for interviews, or planning for your first job, looking for a promotion in your current job, you are on the right place. This is where we discuss basic to advanced AWS, Azure, cloud, uh, DevOps related concepts which help in the day-to-day basis in your job. So make sure you subscribe before you watch rest of the video. Thanks.
Hey, good morning, Sheikh. Welcome to the interview.
Good morning. Thank you.
How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. What about you?
You're very well. Thanks for asking. All right, Sheikh. So as I'm looking at your CV now, so you've got around 2.8 years of experience. You worked quite a fair bit on DevOps technologies and also on AWS. All right. So why don't you start off with your experience, what you've done so far?
Yeah, sure. So, hello, sir. As I said, my name is Nayaz. I have been working in the Exit Technologies from past 2.8 years as a DevOps engineer. So, I started my career at DXC Technologies only as a DevOps engineer. So, here I have been dedicated to optimizing and automating the software delivery process on AWS cloud, and also using most of the open source DevOps tools. So during my past 2.5 years here, I have got an opportunity to work on various projects where I showcased my skills in managing and configuring the infrastructure on DevOps using the DevOps tools and the AWS cloud services. So I have also successfully implemented a CI/CD pipelines using the open source tools like Jenkins, and I have also have an experience with AWS code pipeline a little bit. And apart from that, I have also have an experience in containerizing an application using Docker and managing these multiple containers using a Kubernetes orchestration service tool. And apart from that, I have also have an experience with a little bit experience with Ansible and Terraform. And apart from that, I have experience working with many of the AWS services like EC2, EPC, S3, and a few others. And yeah, that's what about my professional experience and the skills that I possess now right now. So currently I'm looking for an opportunity to in some other organizations where I can grow up my skills here.
Yep, sure. All right. So, Sheikh, you said that you have worked on Jenkins for CI/CD. Can
Yes.
you elaborate on a specific project where you use Jenkins to create a CI/CD pipeline?
So like in most of the my all my previous project, we have used Jenkins open source tool for a CI/CD purposes. So where we have created in multi-stage CI/CD pipelines to automate our entire continuous integration, continuous delivery or deployment processes by integrating many of the services into it. So that's what we have used Jenkins for.
Sure. All right. I would like to know the details of the project. What was the project? What was the domain? What was the business application? What were you doing in that?
So like in my previous projects, most of them are Java based projects. So they are like one of my project is a recent project is Escape Accounts, where it's like an e-commerce website where we have developed that microservices projects using the CI/CD pipelines. So for that we have, since it is a Java based project, we have used Maven tool to integrate with the Jenkins to build our artifacts in Mavens. We have integrated with Jenkins pipeline, the Maven tool, and then after building it, we have used Nexus repository to store our build artifacts from Maven. And then also we have used SonarQube, integrated SonarQube in the Jenkins, so that to do the code analysis. So once everything passes, code passes all the test qualities, then it will move forward, or else the pipeline will get aborted and the developer will get a notification that this code needs some changes and still modifications or bugs it has. And after that, using that Nexus artifacts from Nexus, Docker will build the images, and that will be pushed to the ECR that we have used. So to storing the images, and then we'll have the continuous deployment. Right, we have deployed. We have used Kubernetes for the deployment of this latest images from the ECR to the Kubernetes using the manifest files. So that's the process that we have worked. It differs on the project to project that we have used in my earlier projects.
Okay. Can you walk me through a scenario where you used Docker to troubleshoot a containerized application?
Sure. So we have faced like issues where we have tried to pull some images from the ECR, but we are not able to because it was throwing some issues like image pullback off and these kind of things. So at that time, we need to make sure that all the configurations are right and the image name, the tags that we are giving, and the images exist in the ECR. That we'll make sure all these things and we'll troubleshoot. And still, if the image is still there and we are not able to pull out, and then we'll check the logs where what is the error message, and depending on that we'll troubleshoot and more.
Okay. Can you tell me about a few error messages that you can recall? What sort of error messages came up when the containerized application had issues?
So containerized application, when we have used Kubernetes orchestrated in the container for managing these container applications in the Kubernetes, we have faced issues like performance symptom issues, like configuration environment variables is not correct, and configuration kind of issues, and crash loop backups issues, like image is trying to start but it is failing it, and Kubernetes try to restart it again and still it is failing. That kind of issues we have faced, like a day to daily, this kind of daily kind of task. So that for that we used to troubleshoot we'll find out the parts using kubectl get parts, and then we'll see which pod is having the running in crash loop backup and all, and then we will check the logs of it. We'll describe the part and we'll enter the container, and inside the container we'll go and we'll check various kinds of logs that we have. And also we'll check the monitoring tools where we will all the visualize the data to see the visualization of these logs. So checking all these things, we'll get to know where the exact issue is, and we'll troubleshoot and find the root cause.
Where exactly would you check the Kubernetes logs?
First, we'll check in the virtual machine itself, like using the commands, and we'll find out the error message. If and also we can check in the using the monitoring tools like Prometheus and Grafana, where we can see the dashboards.
Okay. All right. So in one of the projects, you said that you have measured 35% increase in the code delivery rate after implementing the CI/CD pipelines. How do you measure that 35%?
So it is like sorry, can you please repeat your question?
Okay. So I think in your CV, I can see that you have written that you measured 35% increase in the code delivery rate after
Yeah, okay.
implementing
So
pipeline. How do you measure that 35? Why not 30? Why not 40? Why not 50?
it's not like exactly that how we define the 35%, but simultaneously we can say like with the help of some other teams, we can make sure that the time that we optimized the delivery date using some optimization tricks that we have implemented in our CI/CD projects. By minimizing the optimization resource, the resource limits, and CPUs, and optimizing the image size by using the various tricks like multi-stage builds. So
Okay.
we have employed some kind of tricks.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when I was looking at this 35, I thought that probably you had looked at some sort of metrics tool. So there are many metric tools which can prescribe these sort of numbers. So I was expecting that you might be having like a Jira dashboard report or some
Yeah.
other deployment reports which you can refer to, but that's all right.
Yeah. We have also used Jira.
Okay. All right. So another number which is fascinating, 50% reduction in deployment times achieved through Docker, Kubernetes, and Ansible. So what do you understand by a reduction in deployment time?
So the deployment time, it depends on the deployment strategy that we employ to deploy our application into the Kubernetes. So we have used always to reduce the down. So the best part is we always eager to reduce the downtime that it takes to the deployment of the application in Kubernetes. So we have implemented best deployment strategies like rolling updates to for the zero downtimes, and I've also used canary deployments to reduce the downtimes
Okay.
without any effect of the to the application.
Can you tell me different types of deployment strategies?
So deployment strategies like blue-green deployment, rolling updates, canary deployment, say /B testing. So I'm familiar with these three, blue, green, and rolling updates and canary deployments.
All right. Can you tell me the difference between each one of them?
Yeah, sure. So blue-green deployment is a continuous deployment process to reduce downtime. And here we'll create an identical environment like your production one. Then you will route the traffic to the with the latest version. Then we'll that is called as green environment. That then they will gradually route the traffic to the green environment, that is latest version. And if user don't face any issues, we will be continue with that version, and the old version will be put it as a backup of the blue environment, and the new environment will again change as a blue environment. That's a blue green deployment. And when it comes to the rolling updates, in rolling update the deployment updates will take place with zero downtime, but it takes a time for a deployment into the application. But here the parts gradually deletes the old parts, and new parts will get created in rolling updates. In case of this canary deployments, first we'll release a new version to the some set of users, so that impact will be less. And if they don't face any issues, we'll roll out the whole version to the whole of the whole
Okay.
users.
If you are
All right.
passionate about DevOps and cloud technologies, preparing for your interviews, looking for your first job, or looking for a promotion in your current job, you are on the right YouTube channel. This is the platform where we discuss mock interviews, tips and tricks, and basic to advanced DevOps and cloud projects, which eventually help you in securing your job. Do subscribe before you watch rest of the video.
Now, tell me, what is the role of an artifact repository when you're doing the deployments? So what happens if an artifact repository is missing? Why is it important? And what do you do with that?
That is plays a crucial role if you want to deploy your latest version into your Kubernetes, because artifacts is the one that will get from the source codes. Like if it is in case of Java based project, dat var or jar file jar artifacts will get created from the build file that will use to store an Nexus artifacts that we have used to create Docker images. And if artifacts itself is missing, then the latest version can't be deployed into the Kubernetes. So it is important to keep it safe and secure, and version it in case of rollbacks also.
Okay, all right. Now I'll give you a scenario. You tell me how would you troubleshoot it.
Yeah, sure.
You have a binary running in production, right? Now, the team which was running all the deployments, all the builds and everything, that team has been completely replaced by new guys. And they have no idea as to what is running in production, including your source code and everything else. You are given a task to identify which exact source code version is running in production in the binaries. So you've got all these containers which are running. How would you troubleshoot, or how would you trace the roots back to which source code is exactly deployed? What are the steps?
Okay, to know like which source code is deployed into which container.
What is running in production? Yeah, all you have is a production environment and the set of binaries which are running in production. How would you backtrace it to the source code?
Okay, like we have multiple pipelines, so each artifact that will be coming from the each service will get stored in a separate repository in a repository manager itself, like an Nexus. So there itself we can get to know which source code is from the which pipeline from which service. So then we'll have used different tags for each repository to know which service is from the which artifact is from the which service. So while deploying also we had tags like commit ID. So from that we'll get to know that which artifacts is from which services, which is deployed in the production, dev and test. We will get to know.
Okay. And what exactly are all the places where you will be looking for the respective tags?
So tags will be given in the tags will be given in that step will be added in the Jenkins pipeline itself, and that tag will be stored with the tag name will be stored into the Nexus also, and the tag also given in the Docker image also, that will be stored in the ECR.
Okay. And about the source code?
Source code has already we have in repository we have separate branches, right, for each service. So
All right.
I think so that's the way.
Okay. Tell me about, you said that you have worked on Prometheus?
Yes, yes. I just have monitored using Prometheus and
All
Grafana.
right. So
for
tell
that.
me about how did you configure Prometheus for the monitoring?
So there are many processes to configure the Prometheus and Grafana. So the easiest way that we have used in our application is using the Helm charts. We have directly deployed into the clusters to monitor our pod applications into the Prometheus and Grafana. So in Grafana, we have set up this data source for Grafana is as Prometheus, which will collect data collect the metrics and logs from the our application, and that will be given to the Grafana to create a dashboards and to see the visualized dashboards of our logs.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now coming to some of the security measures. So how do you ensure security in your DevOps pipelines?
So security comes as a best part into secure your pipelines and images. The artifact that you created is very important. Is very important. So we have employed various security measures in our CI/CD pipeline. Like after building the code, before building the code itself, we'll do Maven will undergo to the unit testing, some kind of unit test, and after it passes, we will also have used source code analysis tests using a SonarQube, where a code will be checked for the vulnerabilities and it will scan for vulnerabilities. After that, if it passes only, it moves forward, or else the pipeline will get aborted and developer will get to know about the vulnerabilities. And when it comes to the Docker image, we have used Trivy to scan the Docker images for vulnerabilities. And we have also in Docker stage, we'll make sure that it is running as a non-root user to minimize the problems in case of vulnerabilities. And I also only expose the ports which are expressly necessary for absolutely necessary for that communication. That's how we will also implement the network policies in the Kubernetes based on this. That it will only allow the resources or users that are absolutely necessary for the communication of our application. So to monitor our whole application, we have also employed OWASP there. So these are the practices we have used in our application to provide other security best practices.
Okay. Tell me about if you are to secure a Docker container, which is highly sensitive for an application, how do you visualize a traffic coming from an external internet to reach your Docker container, which is secure? So where will you place your Docker container? And how do you think the traffic, what are the different layers of security that your traffic should pass through in order to reach your container?
So we'll deploy our containers in Docker based on the communication that you need. We'll deploy in the different kinds of Docker networks like Docker host, Docker overlay network, Docker bridge default. So if you want external communication is needed and your container needs a communication from various other containers from the other Docker hosts, we'll employ this overlay network. This is for the complex multi-host Docker container setup. We need this overlay network. So here the containers will communicate with other containers from other Docker hosts. So if you just need a Docker containers to communicate from within only your Docker host, one host, then it will employ the Docker bridge network, which is always a default one. So based on this, the container will communicate. The security best practices is like Docker secrets we can use to store our sensitive informations. These are the security best practices when it comes to the container that
Okay. All right. So you said that you have worked on microservices. You have deployed all these different alerting and monitoring capabilities. Have you ever worked on a monolithic architecture?
Like initially when I started my career, I have worked on monolithic one.
Okay. Can you tell me the difference between a monolithic and a microservice?
Sure. Like in microservices, it's just a design approach where we'll deploy our single service into a set of services so that the uh, operational load and many benefits will be taken from the microservices as the like considering operational load is considerably reduced if you employ the microservices due to its simple architecture. But it takes deployment times. But in case of monolithic, if you want to scale down or scale up, then entire application needs to be scale up or scale down. But in case of services, whatever the application you need to scale up, you can scale up independent of the other services. So there are many benefits when it compared to the monolithic and microservices. Microservice has many advantages over it.
And is there any trade-off that you can think when you are converting a monolithic into microservice? Is there something which is, when I say a trade-off, something which was better in monolithic, but yeah, microservice
like simple deployment is there in monolithic is possible. Some complex deployment will be there. Complex deployments is there in microservices. That's the only thing that I can identify.
Okay, all right.
If you are passionate about DevOps and cloud technologies, preparing for your interviews, looking for your first job, or looking for a promotion in your current job, you are on the right YouTube channel. This is the platform where we discuss mock interviews, tips and tricks, and basic to advanced DevOps and cloud projects, which eventually help you in securing your job. Do subscribe before you watch the rest of the video.
Tell me the difference between a stateful and a stateless application.
Yeah, sure. Like stateful applications are something which is used for stateful set is used for the stateful applications that where you need the unique network identifiers and data consistency or persistent storage. That in that cases we use stateful applications, and this is best suited for the databases and any other applications where the data consistency and the unique network identifiers are key. Here the updates will be scaling and updates will be happen in under scheduled manner. Only in an ordered manner the scaling and updates will be done. When it comes to the stateless application, deployment is kind of a stateless application where if you need a scalable, deployable and replaceable containers, then it is the best choice. And here rolling updates and rollbacks will be possible. Here you just need to uh, give the desired state of your application, and Kubernetes will work on it to work on your cluster so that to maintain the desired state of your application.
Okay. Have you heard of this word immutable?
Yes, unchangeable.
All right.
Yeah.
So can you tell me the concept of immutable infrastructure? What does it mean?
Immutable infrastructure is something that you cannot change. The infrastructure once you just created it.
Mm-hmm. And what's the benefit of it?
I don't think so. I don't know. I haven't have an experience.
That's all right. Okay. Have you ever experienced like a major service outage in any application?
Yeah, like recently we had a critical incident from the user saying that the whole application crashed because of the latest version. So when we have seen that, we quickly implemented our incident rollback plan where we quickly roll back to the stable previous version to activate the our application service. And then we have with the cross application communication, we'll find out we had found out the root cause where we have seen the database misconfigurations in the latest version. So after that we have fixed that, the corresponding team that fixed the database configuration setup, and then we'll have tested that multiple times in a staging environment, and then we will again deploy into the production without any issues.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one issue that I've used.
So can you tell me the difference between these two words, RTO and RPO?
Sorry?
Have you heard of RTO and RPO?
No, I think I
in
don't.
In terms of your disaster recovery and restoring.
No, I don't have any.
All right. So yeah, so RTO is recovery time objective and RPO is recovery point objective. Maybe you can just go and read about it.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right. In terms of, have you heard of this word chaos engineering?
I heard about it, but I don't have much. I think I need to look into that.
Okay, no problems. have you heard about GitOps?
Yes, I heard of it.
Explain me GitOps.
Like using GitOps, it is similar tool like Jenkins, where you can implement your pipelines, manage your project. I'm not I don't have an experience working with GitOps. I have used so far Jenkins only as an open source CICD tool. Yeah, I know that it's similar kind of like Jenkins.
That's all right. Okay. All right. What in terms of security, what do you understand by threats and vulnerability? Any difference?
Threads are like processes which will
No, not threads. Threat.
okay. Threat is some kind of issues that will crash your application, and vulnerabilities which will come out from the scammers, which you can resolve using some kind of firewalls like WAF, AWS Shield. You can make use of firewalls to protect your application from this kind of things.
Or yeah, I'm not sure if you're really clear on these terms, but
Mhm.
okay. Explain me the role of identity and access management.
So yeah, identity and access management is basically a service from AWS which we use to manage users and their permissions, users and groups and their permissions. So because various users needs a varying level of access to the services, so we make use of this IAM services in AWS. So using this, we can create users, manage users, create groups and manage users. We can create policies and manage the users' credentials with this AWS
Okay.
IAM service.
Can you tell me the difference between a group and a role?
Role is an IAM entity that defines a set of permissions to make AWS service requests, whereas groups is combination of few users, combination of few what to say, combination of few groups like. Supplemental groups like supplemental things which you can group and you can give to the group of users so that the whole use group of users can access to that particular things.
Okay. Can you explain me role a bit more in detail? What would
AWS
you, yeah, what would you use a role for?
to give the access to the other service like there is an S3 bucket and I want to access it from another AWS account. In that case, we will create a role and give that give some permission policies to that like get object, list objects, and then we will assign that to the IAM user so that the user can access it from the other account, the content of the bucket to that account. So such in such
Is the
cases.
role limited only to AWS services, or can you also give a role to a manual console user?
Mhm. Yeah, we can give it. Oh, IAM rule can be is not limited to the users or services.
Okay. All right. So let's say that you have some sensitive data that you want to store,
Mhm.
and tell me what are the different ways in which you can protect your sensitive data?
So in case of any particular tool or it is the entire application. So in AWS we have secrets managers to store our sensitive data. In Kubernetes we have Kubernetes secrets, and in Docker we have Docker secrets. In Ansible we have Ansible Vault. Like that, in every tool, if you can see, we have a secrets where we can store sensitive data without exposing sensitive information like passwords, access keys into our main codes. So we use
Mhm.
this sensitive information into our secrets.
Okay. So secrets is one way.
Mhm.
What are the other?
Environment variables is also another way where we can store the sensitive information without exposing it.
Okay. And how would you protect the information? I know that you're so far you have told me only one, which is using secrets. What are the other techniques that you can use?
Mm, that's it. That's what I know. I have used in my previous roles. The secrets is
You told me about these things in your answers previously. You need to summarize what are the different security either tools or practices that you can use in order to protect the sensitive data.
so to protect sensitive data, like we have used secrets only. I'm not recalling it.
How about
Just
encryption?
yes, encrypt. We can encrypt the data. So we have TLS and we have certificate bundles in AWS, TLS and SSL, which we encrypt to. We use this to encrypt. In S3, we have a default encryption options like server-side encryption, server-side encryption with KMS, dual-layer server-side encryption. We have an encryption option like we can encrypt the data.
Okay.
I didn't recall it. Okay.
Can you tell me the difference between KMS and CKMS?
Mhm. KMS is used to manage your encryption keys on your behalf, so it will rotate your keys. CKMS also, I think, does the same work, but I have not used it so far, so I don't have much
What
idea.
does C stand for in CKMS?
I'm not sure.
That's all right. Okay. Explain me the concept of zero trust security. What does it mean?
Zero trust security. With the name, I can tell that the security is the high level security can be implemented with this zero trust security, but I don't have a knowledge on that.
Yeah, the name says it a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. So it's all to do with your micro-segmentation of networks, your authentication, authorization,
Okay.
monitoring and threat detection, least privilege access. So, all right, you can go and have a read about it.
Yeah, sure.
If you are passionate about DevOps and cloud technologies, preparing for your interviews, looking for your first job, or looking for a promotion in your current job, you are on the right YouTube channel. This is the platform where we discuss mock interviews, tips and tricks, and basic to advanced DevOps and cloud projects, which eventually help you in securing your job. Do subscribe before you watch the rest of the video.
Next question. Ola, tell me some of common cloud misconfigurations that are done, which can be prevented easily.
Like in recent changes.
In cloud, there are lots of different configurations which can be misconfigured, and that would make your application very insecure. Right. So I'll give you an example. For example, like publicly exposed storage buckets. So that is one common misconception. So what I'm trying to get from this question is still about security, but what are the specific things if you have an application? All right. So let's say you have a scenario where somebody is asking you to look at an existing application which is deployed and asking you that, okay, Shaik, can you please confirm that this application conforms to all the different security and it is really secure? What are the things that you would go and look into that application?
Okay. I'll check the various security measures that it followed so far. So, like whether it is under VPC, whether it had used public, where it is various instances is deployed into the which subnets, public and private. Um, I'll check that, and after that, I'll check the various security groups and which application, which ports that this application is listening to, and the various security groups and the network, NAT gateways, internet gateways, routing policies. I will check this basic things first, and then the firewalls and the other security measures coming to the CI/CD pipelines. I'll check check what is it is doing in case of this checking the code qualities, and I'll also make sure that it is following the vulnerability checks using the for Docker images using like Trivy or any other tool it is using. So various network policies that it used, the services that Kubernetes service that it used to expose the application. I'll check all these things to get to know to figure out the security things that it followed earlier and whether it is best or not. That then we can decide.
Okay. All right. Now, have you heard of this term, distributed denial of service?
No, sorry, distributed. No, I didn't.
DDoS?
Sorry, I don't.
That's not it. Okay. Tell me about, so you've used S3 before, right? So tell me about
Yeah.
some of the S3 lifecycle policies. What do you understand by that?
So lifecycle policy is a feature in S3. Using that, you can transition your data from one class to the one storage class to the another storage class. It is a process of automating of moving your objects from one storage class to the another storage class. Like we have to reduce. It is basically used to reduce your cost, so that your objects you are retrieving or else you are accessing it very rarely. In that case, you need to move from one storage class to another storage class to secure to optimize your cost. Like we have S3 standard, S3 standard IA, one zone IA, S3 intelligent tiering we have, S3 glacier we have. So we'll move our objects from one storage class to the another storage class by automating it with the life cycle rules in S3.
Okay. Now, let's say you have a scenario and I want you to actually problem solve this. You have a customer who wants to place a file in somewhere. Okay. I want you to design the solution and tell me about it.
Sure.
He wants to place a file somewhere, and then he wants, so it's like a image file. Okay. But then he wants to have that image file. So what he has done is he has just placed the file. Now, from your end, you need to develop a system which can take that file as soon as it is placed, okay, collate all the different files together, stitch them up, make a video, and store it again in somewhere else, right? So the customer will keep on pumping all the different files. Okay, so let's say in an S3 bucket. So I need you to design a solution where all these different files are stitched together, automatically make a video, and then place it somewhere else. How would you design the solution? What are the different AWS services that you will use? What attributes would you put on to, sorry, listen to the question. What are different services that you will use? What attributes will you put to your S3 bucket? How will you make it secure that only the customer can put files into it? And how would you design a solution where all these things happen afterwards?
So this will be like enter a mini project where we can design the architecture. Like whenever he uploads something, we'll like automate this process. First, we'll create a S3 bucket. We'll put this. We'll make it private so that only customer can access it and upload the files. And then we will put our S3 buckets and databases we use after creating a video. We'll store it some kind of data. We'll store it in somewhere like S3 only, and this entire things can be put under some VPC, and we will protect our entire this thing. To convert it, we need to use some kind of third-party applications to convert all the images into some video and then put it into S3.
Can you do all of these within AWS itself?
Yeah, I think most of the things can be done with the AWS itself, because
no, I'm asking you the name of services.
Okay. The image collect S3 customer will upload the files, the images into the S3 bucket.
Okay, now let's drill down a little bit deeper into it. Customer uploads the S3. You said that you have provided private access.
Yeah.
Explain me that private access.
Private access to this bucket.
Yes.
So if it is S3 private bucket, the customer is uploaded the file into
how will the customer get access to that bucket?
We'll give access to the S3 bucket access to the customer by with the bucket policies, by creating a bucket policy.
Okay.
Like get or put object policy, permission policy to that bucket, and assign an IAM role to that user so that the user can put images into that S3, put objects into that S3 file.
Right. Once the file is available using the role, the customer can put up a file. Once the file is available, what happens next?
So then we'll need to use some kind of AWS service. I don't know whether we have that, or third-party application service
No, not
tool.
third party. You can use an
We
AWS service. Which one?
have transcoder, I guess.
So how will transcoder?
Media files into versions, it
No,
converts.
not media. When a file comes onto a S3 bucket, which service will determine that something has come up?
Lambda function we can use
Okay.
to create the event will trigger the Lambda function that I think it will convert all the images into some kind of video. I don't know whether it's possible, but Lambda function can do this work based on the events. It will run the function of code and then it will convert to the code. Yes, I think it's possible because Lambda we can write the code and that code will convert these images into the video and then it can be published or put into some. Mhm.
All right. I think I can go on and on with my questions, but I think we are just running short of time. So
Yeah.
all right, Sheikh. So I think we'll just conclude the interview here, and I'll give you my feedback. And thanks for attending it today. And wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.